All right, so next we're moving on to simplifying surds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do example 8, then I'm going to ask you to come back and look at example 7. Now, in example 8, we're asked to simplify the root of 320. Now, 320 is the same as saying 80 times 4. 80 is the same as saying 16 times 5. So I know that this is the same as saying the square root of 64 times 5 times x squared times x. So x cubed is the same as saying x squared times x. Now, 125, this is the same as saying the square root of saying 25 times 5 times x squared times x. Again, x cubed is the same as saying x squared times x. Now, the square root of 64 is 8. The square root of x squared is x. So the square root of x squared is the same as saying x squared to the half power, which is the same as saying x squared times a half, which is the same as saying x to the 1, which is just what? X. So the square root of x squared is x. So what we have left under the bracket is the square root of 5x. The square root of 64 is 8. The square root of x squared is x. And what we have left under the bracket is 5x. Plus, over to the right, the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of x squared is x. And left under the bracket is 5x. So, these two terms are like terms. And remember, in algebra, we can add and subtract like terms. So 8x root 5x plus 5x root 5x is actually 13x root 5x. All right, so I want you guys to go back and do example 7. All right, so for example 7, the square root of 80 is the same as saying the root of 16 times 5 plus 3 times the root of 180 is 36 times 5 minus the root of 320, which is the root of 64 times 5. So the root of 16 times 5 is 4 root 5 plus 3 times 6 root 5 minus 8 root 5. 3 6s are 18. 18 plus 4 is 22 root 5 minus 8 root 5, which turns out, I think, to be 14 root 5. All right, so that's examples 7 and 8.